Hello everyone, I'm Havoc and this is Satisfactory. Now, in between last episode and this one, I've unlocked quite a few of the hub terminal milestones. You'll see it's a bit messy over here. I have been pseudo-automating, kind of like batch crafting items that we need in order to unlock the milestones that I did. So there are computers, and right over here we have the heavy frames. I say it's pseudo-automated because certain parts of it, such as the encased beams and what else is going in here, steel pipes, I've been bringing over here by hand, dumping in like so, and then letting it run while I was running around doing other things. It's a bit messy. I'm going to clean all this up here in just a moment. Let's see, what am I lacking? Probably plastic. Or a little bit of plastic. And then we're missing the computer chips, which requires a little bit of copper sheets, like so. To make the circuit boards, I think is what it's called. Yeah, circuit board. I said computer chips. That's okay. I'm going to clean all this stuff up and make some improvements. But the oil rig's been running well. Let's take a quick trip right over there. It's right over the hill. Everything's been doing well. That's how I've been getting my rubber and plastic to complete a lot of these benchmark milestones. And the major one that I was most interested into getting was the belts Mark IV. Yep, Mark IV belts. This gives me 480 resources per minute. Takes the encased beams, which I have a large stockpile of. Well, I did. I've been using a few of them. But we're going to revamp a lot of our factories over time. And with the ability to move 480 resources per minute around in a single belt, it's definitely going to help, especially coming out of like miners off of pure nodes. We'll be able to make use of power shards and getting 480 ore per single node right now, which is amazing. But back over here, it's a little laggy when I get to this spot. There's a lot going on, but over here is the rubber. It's still just fine. We do need to go ahead and grab some plastic while we're here. What I'm going to look at doing, though, I did make a slight change down here, and I'll show you. I shrunk this down a little bit and dropped in a container here for this petroleum coke. That's what it is, petroleum coke. And what I did was put a smart splitter right here that is configured for anything to go to the left and only overflow to go to the center, which goes back down to our sink down there. Now I could also upgrade all of these and get rid of that one. With that cleaned up and all of this diverted, this handles these parts. What I might go ahead and do is move this over or up, because I'm considering changing these to the fuel recipe. Right, so right now I'm getting 120 heavy oil residue, and I'm using that to make petroleum coke and just sinking it. It's essentially destroying the byproduct. I'm getting points towards coupons, but that's not necessarily that's not the goal of this. I need to get some packaged fuel. So what I'm thinking is changing this to the residual fuel. And what that's going to do is swap it over to producing fuel. The problem with that is that taking it out of here will clip through these belts. So let's in fact go ahead and change that back. And yeah, I guess what I'm going to do, I'm going to bite the bullet and go ahead and move these out and up so that we can take them pretty much directly into this. And what I'll probably even do is end up moving that I don't know. I'll leave that one there. I like where that's at. I've got the little supports under it, so it looks like it's supported there. But I want to be able to swap between them without any kind of issue for the pipes. So what I'm going to do here, put that there and remove this one, because the pipe will be able to go up and over this steel frame. We'll do the same thing right down here. Actually, I need to remove these to get the foundations in place temporarily. And then what I want to do is set it up so that it's going to be a nice, neat turn when it goes up and into that. So this is probably too close. How many up is that? That might be the right one, but it's facing the wrong way. The right height, the output was facing the wrong way. There. So how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 6th one up. Also, did I do this correctly? Looks like it. And that gets that operating again. Perfect. So now I just need to line the other ones up. And what that's going to allow me to do is that can run anytime we need to make the petroleum coke. I can just leave this up and running and we'll get petroleum coke, and then I can swap recipes and take the fuel out without having to redesign this area later. So now we've got to decide what we're going to do with this fuel and how we're going to handle it. We need to get it into packaged fuel. But we may just swap this over and use it for fuel generators. Let's see. 40, I can only run 2 of these on fuel, so that's 120. And then this one, select recipe and just don't hit anything. No, we're gonna turn it off. Select recipe, but it is off. It should not run. We're not producing enough heavy oil for it to run anyways. That means is we get 80 fuel per minute when this thing is running. Now what I need to know is how much fuel is required to run a fuel generator. And this is a temporary platform, definitely not where this is going to go long term. Fuel generator. I don't even have the components. Fuel generator. And then we're going to just hook it up right there. It's fine. We'll get some fuel into it. Hook it up into the power grid. $12 meters per minute. That's all it consumes? That's a lot of power from this very small setup that we have going. That will help tremendously. Tremendously. Okay, so that's going to be a ton of power. I'm just 12 meters squared per minute. Just making sure I'm reading that right. That it just feels like it should be less than that, but I'm not going to argue with it. Let's see about building a platform out here. We need to make some package fuel too, so we can probably make the 6 fuel that we need and then package the rest. Wonder if there's a way to prioritize fuel going to the packager first so that it runs. Let's drop down some foundations. Whoa, not catty corner. Doing a little theory crafting right here. Production, packager. I need a little bit of plastic. Good thing that's right here where we are. I say packaged fuel. Holy cow, it'll use 40 fuel per minute. Holy smokes. Okay. That is an excessive amount of the fuel that I'm producing. So I think we need to do this in a separate area. We need to make the packaged fuel somewhere separate altogether. I can do some right now. In fact, let's go ahead. I need some empty canisters. I just need to complete the milestone. So we have 7 fuel generators. Of the 7 fuel generators, each are using 12 cubic meters of fuel per minute. I'm only producing 80, so 7 times 12 is 84. It's consuming 4 additional cubic meters of fuel than I actually produce. Now I had this running for a little bit and it filled up the pipes. If I hop down here beforehand, so they're mostly full. I'm going to need to go adjust it now because I see it's finally starting to reduce the amount in there. So if I come down to the very last one at the end, I can throttle this one down. I think it's not 69%, 59%. Should give me the 8 meters squared that I need to use exactly. Yep. So that I'm using perfectly 80 cubic meters of fuel per minute, which is exactly what I'm producing. And this is balanced. These things are giving me a lot of power. So each of these are worth 2 coal generators essentially, being that this produces 150 megawatts and a fuel generator produces, a coal generator produces 75 megawatts. Now the only throttle that I have is how much fuel can I make. And out of this build, I'm getting all that I can. However, I did unlock the better pipes. If I come down here, I have the pumps Mark II and I have the pipes Mark II. This one right here gives you 600 cubic meters. It's twice as much per minute flowing through, which is crazy. And if we take a peek over here at this node, did not mean to bring out explosives. Well, we're going to take a little swim. The gun I did mean to bring out because a lot of times spiders spawn over here. And a giant spider in particular will spawn every now and then. Creeps me the heck out. Yeah, I have unlocked the gun. I've done a few things in between. Go ahead, read it. So I could very easily probably fill up a crude oil pipe from this one. The amount of power it's going to consume will go up drastically though, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. Maximum flow rate 600 meters per minute, which meets up with the Mark II pipes. And if I get 600 per minute, I could make some serious fuel. Some serious fuel. I can do it in a different way. Hold on, wait a minute here. I wish you could just go to empty hands. It would be nice just to be able to go over to an empty hand slot so you don't have things in front of your face constantly. But let's go to refinery. And you can take just crude oil and make fuel and polymer resin. Is this a more efficient way? To make fuel? So you're getting 60 to 40. If I come in here and I do this, I get 30 to 10 heavy oil residue. And then this gives me 30 to 20. So I use 60 and I get 30. I get half. Whereas if I do this, I get 60 and get 40. You get slightly more fuel this way. And then you get this polymer resin. The polymer resin can then be used combined with water to make plastic and to make rubber. Is it this recipe? Yes, this recipe. So how much polymer resin? You get 30 per minute out of 60. Let's do the math on that. I am currently consuming 240, right? 240 cubic meters per minute in order to make the plastic and the rubber that I'm making right now, which means 4 of these. 4 of these means 120 polymer resin per minute. That means you get drastically less plastic and drastically less rubber, though. Hold on here. So I could do 2 of these, which would be 40 plastic, and that would consume half of the polymer resin that I'm producing currently. And then 3 of these. So you get 60 rubber and 40 plastic out of the same amount, but you get a ton of fuel. You get extra fuel that way. All right, so the revelation was made while doing some working that eventually the rubber and the plastic would back up, and that would cease the heavy oil. The heavy oil would cease the fuel, and that means my power is going to stop if I'm not consuming plastic and rubber. So I've added in an overflow system using smart splitters to send in anything extra all the way down to the sink. So here you have a smart splitter. Left is the overflow, center and right are anything else. So it will prioritize sending to the storage room, which is center. Nothing is off to the right. In fact, I'll just go ahead and change that to none. And then anything overflow just goes down this line to a merger and runs down the outside and joins in with the line of anything that goes over there to the sink. And that allows me to keep those things flowing constantly. Same thing is happening with the plastic. Last minute before it goes into the storage room, I have a smart splitter. Right is nothing, center is anything, and left is the overflow of the items, which then comes around and just runs into that merger through a elevator right there. And it will slowly but surely run through any of the extra that was back up there, and that will keep my fuel production running on the far end and keep my fuel generators running so they don't run out. Which caught me off guard when that happened. For some reason, I did not even understand. My brain didn't put 2 and 2 together that eventually when the plastic and rubber backs up, that's going to stop. And I need that power running all the time. So we have to resource sink the extra resources, which is just fine. It's not going to affect production in the fact that if I were to come over here and take any, it will refill the storage first, and then once that is full, all the overflow will then go to the sink. And I'm going to get tons of coupons. Boy, them autosaves, they're really lagging me out bad now. And I don't even have a mega base or anything crazy yet. And it's just this area, it feels like. Well, and my crowded area that I need to clean up. But let's take a look and see how this looks from over here. Oh, I left those. 1 second. There's a little bit of a mess to clean up, which I can take care of. No, 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 no. What is that? Don't do that. Need my fuel generator. And I'll leave these in here. You don't really see them until you're over on them. But it helps to get up out of the water. So that is my platform for the fuel generators. Nothing fancy. I could have done a little bit of height variation maybe, but really it's not that big. I just wanted to get those up and running and processing the byproduct, the fuel from the heavy oil residue that we've got going there. And now we have that. We have a significantly larger amount of power production now, thankfully. Let's see. So we are charging our battery bank over at the coal generators, the coal generator area. Yet again, it was draining down. I had gotten around 50%-ish when I realized we had a problem, and I threw some solid fuel into the, what are they called? Biomass burners that we still had sitting over there to hold us over temporarily, but that's not a good option. This is more permanent. Now we have fuel being consumed over there, helping us with power, and we're going to need more power. We're going to need more power because I want to get lots and lots of packaged fuel. I've got a crude oil node. I don't know if I should power shard this and just take off of here. This is a pure node. So everything I get out of here, I get 2 times as much as a normal node. And I am currently using the 240 that I make per minute, but I could potentially ramp it up to make even more than that if I threw some power shards in here. It's going to increase the power consumption. And that's another thing that I need to think about. I need to know how much the difference in power consumption is going to be between ramping that one up or just putting down multiple on the normal nodes that I have over here. The only problem is, again, that's going to leave me at a cap as normal nodes only produce the 120 per minute. That's not ideal. So let me grab some power shards and let's see what that's going to do to the power consumption of our little oil extractor. Okay, so if I put this down, I know this is only going to give me 120. How many nodes do I have over here? Is there another one right over here, possibly? Where's it at? A random refinery placed. Hold on. Let me just ping for it. Crude oil. Okay, right over here somewhere. Oh, right here where I have my little setup for viewing. I had to take the thumbnail for that oil rig. Okay. Very far off in that direction. There's some. Or how hard it would be to get to that. Where is that at? Anyways, we're here right now. Let's utilize what I can here. And let's just see how insane the power consumption is going to get. If I were to ramp this up, 173 megawatts. That's more than 4 times the power consumption. That's pretty insane. That would fill up a pipe though completely, and I'm only using 240 right now. So what does that mean for what do I have left over? 360 crude oil, cubic meters of crude oil per minute. That could probably turn around and make a whole lot of fuel and thus a whole lot more power as well. That's a little bit over one fuel generator is worth more power. I think that's 100% acceptable because it will max out a pipe. I can go ahead and take those out. I'm not currently using that much, so I don't need it. This one, there's no way to. You're gonna get what 300 meters squared per, and it's gonna take the same amount of power as the other one, give half as much. So I think it's much better to take this one, power shard it up, upgrade the pipes, and then split off and do another setup that processes fuel. That is going to be it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, feel free to hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. And if you're enjoying my content, you're not already subscribed, you should really consider subscribing to my channel. It does mean a lot to me, really positively reinforces me to keep making content and putting it out there. So if you are enjoying it, feel free to subscribe. I do appreciate it. And put any comments you have down there. I love reading those and responding to each and every one of them. And as always, I will see you all next time.